Once again, the website there is spendingrevolt.com. Is that correct?
Right.
And
That's
of
right.
course,
You can go to our website, cwfa.org, and you can take a look at some of the things I've written on the issue. But it's something all of us have to acquaint ourselves with and be ready to talk about and talk to our leaders about.
Well, you're always on top of it, and I appreciate your visit. Penny Nance is the CEO, Concerned Women of America, and it's CWFA. We'll do it again. Right now, I want to go to Fred Lucas, CNS News. Hello, Fred. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you, Chuck?
Just fine. Well, you got about 3 that were released here, and going to talk about a couple of them at least. Number one, the military families story that you just filed today. Then we got to get to this, let me see here, the Iran sanctions, I think. And quite a bit has been covered already on this Obama's Federal Appeals Court nominee. This guy, talk about a lapse of memory. Apparently he did a bunch of legal work for a serial killer. Then he presided as the judge to delay the guy's execution. Just spend a minute or so so that the people will know what his name is and how in the world does President Obama come up with these people? That's my question.
His name is Robert Chotney, and it's spelled like pygmy, C-H-A-T-I-G-N-Y. He's been a district judge in Connecticut, and he's had a string of really controversial rulings. He determined that the Connecticut's Megan's Law was unconstitutional, and he has a history of giving light sentences to sex offenders. In this particular case, this was a serial rapist and murderer, and Michael Ross. In 1992, Judge Chotney, not a judge then, he was an attorney, was asked to do some legal work, review some briefs and so forth. He did that at the time, and he exchanged a letter back and forth with Ross. Fast forward to 2005, he ended up presiding over a case in which the public defender's office was actually trying to stop his execution. And Chotney sided with the public defender's office and helped delay it. And there's a whole backstory to that, too. That the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Chotney's ruling. However, he threatened a lawyer that night, just hours before the execution was supposed to take place, and the lawyer intervened and basically helped call it off.
So apparently the president wants this guy on the Federal Appeals Court because he's lenient to serial killers and people who commit sex crimes. That's almost what it boils down to, and I mean, it's disturbing. And, you know, I know there's, I've seen quite a bit of this brought up, you know, on conservative television, but I'm not seeing too much of it out of the mainstream media, and I just don't quite understand, and maybe I'm missing something. But the good news is this clown, how many people did he kill, actually? I'm trying, was it 6?
He actually killed a total of 8 people.
A total of 8 people he killed.
Right.
And the good news is...
ages 14 to 25.
14 to 25. And he wanted to be executed. And the good news is he was. May 13th, 2005, pronounced dead.
No thanks to Judge Chotney, but...
Absolutely. All right. Well, Fred, I don't know. It's sometimes it's hard to just talk about some of this stuff. Now then... There are military families. This is the latest that Fred has just filed at cnsnews.com. Military families are cautioning senators on Kagan's nomination. Let's talk about this, shall we? This is the group Military Families United.
Right, and this organization did not come out fully against the nomination. They are in a sense just sort of being cautious and asking that Kagan's actions while being of Harvard be taken into strong consideration, given that she seemed to have quite a bit of opposition to the military recruiting happening on the campus.
Now let me paint you a little picture here, all right? Because you know how sometimes I give you this weird stuff. Now this group, Military Families United, say we're just cautioning you. You know, we're not just outright saying don't nominate her. So whenever she manages to have the swing vote that makes it a crime for anyone to wear a military uniform on the streets of the United States of America, they'll say, well, remember, we cautioned you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows what it's coming to?
I think a lot of some of this, in terms of not coming straight out in opposition to this, is based on that they're a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, and there's tax-exempt issues that could come up if they out and out came out against a nomination like this.
Now, you mentioned in your article about Senator Sessions, he wrote, quote, in one of the most significant positions she's held, Ms. Kagan used her authority to hinder rather than help the soldiers who fight and die for our freedoms. And the White House has said that Kagan broke no laws. Boy, they were really quick to point that out. She broke no laws, right? I kind of disagree with that.
All right. Well, the argument here from Republicans is that the Solomon Amendment was in place as far back as 1995. She became dean of Harvard in 2003, and she, in the face of the Solomon Amendment, she barred the recruiters. She joined a brief. She put in a brief in a existing court case on the side of doing away with the Solomon Amendment. The U.S. Supreme Court, in a very rare unanimous decision, determined that the Solomon Amendment is perfectly constitutional. So during this whole time, when it was going through the appeals process, she barred the military recruiters from campus, and at the time when Harvard was getting federal money.
Federal. And so she was in defiance, as they say, defiance of federal law.
Right, right.
Is there a difference in...
I should explain the Solomon Amendment. That was a law basically that says if a school is going to get federal money, it has to allow military recruiters on campus.
But you know, it's amazing how they use this defiance. She was in defiance rather than coming out and say she was breaking federal law. Just sort of like, well, she was sticking her nose up at it, I guess. Now, White House counsel Robert Bauer, he told you guys that when you really look at her, he's confident that she's going to impress the panel. I wonder if that's a talking note somebody handed him, you know.
Well, I think so. We're going to find that out today, of course. So the hearing is happening as we speak right now.
Yes.
And it's mostly been, thus far, each member of the Senate sort of putting their 2 cents in and speaking at length, as senators tend to do. We haven't heard a whole lot from Solicitor General Kagan just yet, but as the days go on, I think we're going to.
Now, a really, really big story you filed, I think, I believe it was the end of last week or over the weekend, was this Iran sanctions.